into places of darkness.
Ann Cockrell and Kendra White discuss how to discern God's calling on their podcast, Hannah's Heart, at afr.net/podcasts.
This is American Family Radio, a listener-supported ministry of the American Family Association.
American Family News, I'm Rusty Pugh. A temporary ceasefire between the U.S. and Iran officially expires today. Trey Yingst reporting from Tel Aviv.
Today, the memorandum of understanding between the United States and Iran expires. It's been 60 days since it was signed, and reports indicate very little diplomatic progress to reopen the Strait of Hormuz. All of this is taking place as President Trump told Fox News that Iran should put up the white flag of surrender. He added that I have no time schedule. I'm not in a hurry. The president also warned that he would bomb Oman if they got in the way, as reports indicate ongoing talks between Iran and Oman about control of the strait. Now, international shipping data indicated only 5 cargo ships passed through the strait on Saturday and none on Sunday. This is due to Iran continuing attacks on vessels.
Meanwhile, Trump administration officials, including Jared Kushner, are in the region to pursue diplomatic avenues to address the ceasefire in Gaza. Reports say Kushner will meet today with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, who recently called the Board of Peace roadmap unacceptable.
Israel does not accept the 15-point document. The IDF will not carry out any withdrawal until Hamas is disarmed. And when I say disarming Hamas, it means heavy weaponry, lighter weaponry, all weaponry. And we're talking about genuine disarmament, not fictitious disarmament.
Florida voters headed to the polls tomorrow in the latest test of the far-left socialist movement. Democrats are deciding how far left the party is willing to go, and this week that debate moves to Florida. One of the candidates challenging Congresswoman Debbie Wasserman Schultz is Elijah Manley, a self-described socialist who supports abolishing ICE. But when he presented his false narrative on Fox News, he received pushback.
We are still going to enforce immigration laws that are on the books, but we just don't need people running through the streets, kidnapping people off the streets. Americans have been killed by ICE agents that are untrained. They have put police officers in danger, our communities in danger. Yeah, I mean, American citizens that they've put in prisons. I mean, random people on the street that have been shot in the face. I mean, this is lawlessness that we've never seen in our country before.
This is an unfactual narrative, Elijah.
Meanwhile, another socialist, Oliver Larkin, is running against Congressman Jared Moskowitz. Larkin is running on things like universal health care and free college.
Why are you out here advocating for socialism in a state where capitalism does work well when it seems like you haven't really tried it yourself?
Well, we have a higher cost of living in the Miami metropolitan area now than New York City, and we've had 30 years of Republican rule in Tallahassee. So this stark income and wealth inequality where we see my district, the 25th Congressional District, having the highest concentration of billionaires in the country. At the same time, we see the poverty rate going up.
It appears Republicans are not the only ones concerned about a new law in Massachusetts that removes gestational limits on abortion. As Chris Woodward explains, even some Democrats are pushing back.
9 House Democrats broke ranks to vote against the bill. They called it barbaric and warned it sets a slippery slope, noting that prior state law already allowed late-term abortions to protect a mother's life or in cases of severe fatal anomalies. Kristen Day of Democrats for Life said seeing rank-and-file Democrats in Massachusetts break ranks to oppose the expansion was a rare but welcome sight.
I'm always encouraged to see Democrats speak their conscience and speak the truth. Too many of them feel like they can't do it. And so, yes, it's very encouraging to see people push back against this really extreme abortion measure.
With Massachusetts now joining 9 other states and the District of Columbia and having no statutory gestational limits, Day warns voters in other regions against assuming their state laws are permanent, pointing to out-of-state funding driving similar initiatives across the nation.
People should really pay attention and not be afraid to speak up for the protections of women.
As similar battles loom on ballots in states like Virginia this fall, the rift in Massachusetts highlights an escalating fight over the future direction of reproductive policy nationwide. I'm Chris Woodward.
And U.S. stocks are drifting near their record heights. The S&P 500 has slipped 0.1% this morning, but remains near its all-time high set on Thursday. The Dow is down 174 points, and the Nasdaq Composite is flat. Meantime, oil prices are edging higher. More news online at afn.net and on the AFN mobile app. I'm Rusty Pugh.
The God Who Speaks is a powerful message on the authority of Scripture in the voices of some of the most respected theologians of our day.
The most historic formula for the Christian church has been this: when the Scripture speaks, God speaks.
The God Who Speaks is a 90-minute documentary which can empower Christians to share our faith and defend the authenticity of the Bible. Available at thegodwhospeaks.org or visit stream.afa.net.
Welcome to Today's Issues, offering a Christian response to the issues of the day. Here's your host, Tim Wildmon, President of the American Family Association.
Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome to Today's Issues on the American Family Radio Network. Thanks for listening to AFR. Today is Monday, August the 17th, 2026. Again, as always, thank you for listening to American Family Radio. Tim Wildman here with Ed Vitagliano. Good morning, Ed.
Good morning, Tim.
Chris Woodward.
Good morning.
You guys are wearing your Navy AFA shirts.
Yeah, we just realized we were in the story meeting this morning together. And it wasn't until we were sitting next to each other here in the studio that we realized
that you're both. So just for those who can't see into the studio here or watching on the video, Ed and Chris are wearing the same shirt.
Yes.
Identical shirt. And nobody texted each other this morning and said, hey, what are you wearing today?
We stopped doing that years ago.
That would be pathetic.
Yeah.
More pathetic than usual.
So what listeners need to do and viewers is to watch later this week to see if we wear our green shirts on the same day.
I'm wearing mine tomorrow.
Okay, let me write that down.
All right. We won't deal with the psychology of of a guy asking another guy, what are you wearing? What are you wearing today?
Yeah, that kind of comes out to creepy.
Yeah, it does. it falls in that category for sure. All right. Hope everybody had a good weekend and that your air conditioner didn't break. Woo-hoo. Did you get yours fixed, by the way?
Nope. Now, I do always want to remind everybody, we have air conditioning. We need a surge protector. And they sent the wrong part last week, and so we're waiting this week. So at some point this week, I'm going to have to go home and meet the guy while he puts that on. So
what's the profession that handles that? Just air conditioning man?
Just HVAC,
Okay.
It's
not called surge protector man, right?
No, I don't think they can sell enough of those. It's just the folks who put in our unit.
Right.
They do the servicing and
right.
And they're very nice. This is unusual for them.
Well, for people who do have their air conditioner go out, you can't stay in the house.
No,
in
brutal.
I'm talking about in much of the country right now.
Right
now, it's middle of August, so guess what? It's hot everywhere.
And
pretty
because
much.
It's hot everywhere, the HVAC people, the heating and cooling people, they have to put you on a list because there's other people in exactly your same situation.
That's true.
So,
can you pay them a little extra to get bumped up?
Bribery? I've never thought of that, but
hey, it's worked all through human history.
Yes, it has. How about I make it worth your while?
You can call it bribery. You can call it the American way. I don't know.
You'd have to like meet one of them, just cross paths at a local convenience store or something and say, hey. Here's an extra 20 if you put me at the. I'm sure they can't when they answer the phone.
Right.
If you say, "Hey, can I pay extra?"
I'm just saying you can do that on an airline.
Yeah.
You can buy a premium seat, or you can sit back there with the cattle. Either one. You pick.
Yeah. You pick. My mom used to say, "Money talks."
Right. So I just wondered. That was just a question I had. Can you get bumped up if you pay more?
I've never. You know what? I'm just gonna say I'm proud of myself that even though I'm Italian, I've never thought about bribing the heating and cooling people. I should have. That should come naturally to me.
Well,
threatening or bribing.
You go without heat a couple of days, you'll pay whatever you need to get it fixed. You go without cooling, I should say.
Oh yeah.
All right, Christopher. bring forth unto us story number one.
All right. Well, air conditioning is not a problem for people in Indiana, and I say that because flooding is their issue this morning. We need to pray for the people of Indiana. They've had some deadly flooding there. At least 7 people have died during days of...
7 people are dead?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
After,
what happened?
They had days of heavy rain, historic flooding. There were even some tornadoes, straight line winds.
Was this in northern Indiana? Or
various parts of Indiana.
Okay.
And I say that based on the fact that if you picture the state of Indiana, my wife and in-laws are all from the upper northwest portion of the state, Valparaiso, Portage, Hobart, Michigan City, those places. They all had some flooding. And then you go down south to Indianapolis, and even below that, they've got flooding. So it's throughout much of the state.
Wow. I guess it kind of went under the radar till I saw the story yesterday, and I was going, wow, I had no idea that this kind of massive flooding was taking place in Indiana.
Yeah.
But you're right. We do need to pray for those people. I'm sure, our friends at 8 Days of Hope will probably send a team there, to help out the flood victims as well. When you think about flooding, you think about Louisiana or Florida or Texas, or you don't think about Indiana. Or the Midwest, but here we are.
Yeah, I talked to a guy last week from the College Fix about a completely unrelated story. One of the editors of the College Fix lives in Indiana, and I said, "Is this still a good time?" And he said, "Well, we can do it now. I'm keeping an eye on the sky for a tornado." So they've had some bad weather.
Yeah.
And as somebody from Mississippi, I totally get that. We get tornadoes a lot.
But
as do a lot of people.
7 people have died. I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
That's and then you got hundreds of people, maybe thousands displaced.
Right.
No power, et cetera.
It's going to be an issue for a while. A lot of flooded basements, flooded streets, that kind of stuff. Now, President Trump has promised aid to the state of Indiana, and somebody we have some audio from is Indiana Senator Jim Banks, who had this to say about the flooding and the aid. Clip 10.
53 counties in our state have been devastated, impacted in a big way. We have rivers flowing all through our state, and the flooding is really bad. Thousands of families affected, millions of Hoosiers without power right now. President Trump called me yesterday. We talked about the flood damage, and he signed the declaration of emergency for our state and committed to send millions of dollars here to help rebuild Indiana.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
Of course, that's standard operating procedure. Every president of every party, administers emergency help for Americans in need across the country.
And Americans are generally very good about helping other states. There's a lot of power. Like when we had the ice apocalypse this past winter, there were units from other states, power companies that came and tried to help get, Northeast Mississippi, North Mississippi back online, and other states. So Americans are generally pretty helpful.
Yeah,
when
absolutely.
Natural disasters.
Next story, Chris.
Well, an unfortunate situation at Virginia Tech occurred over the weekend. We've got some coverage of this on AFN.net.
I don't think it was Virginia Tech.
It was Virginia Tech shooting.
Okay, you better check that college.
I think it was Virginia University. Anyway, go do the story, and I'll check it.
The Virginia
State University. Excuse me. Yes.
So I was right.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. I don't.
I'll see myself out.
Just if I'm wrong.
No, you're right.
No,
you're right.
You're right. It wasn't Virginia. There is a famous Virginia Tech.
There is
mass shooting, but
yes, there was. So my apologies. This is not anything to make fun about, and I didn't.
No. I was wrong.
No, I was just trying to correct the facts of the matter, but I shouldn't have said the other part. So go ahead.
Authorities are seeking additional people who they say fired weapons during a weekend shooting at Virginia State University that left 5 people wounded. Authorities found a 19-year-old suspect over the weekend. Investigators are trying to determine if others who fired weapons did so in self-defense or if they were aggressors. The shooting came just after 1:30 a.m. Saturday, and students had gathered for the new school year. The suspect is not a student, but was found hiding in a dorm closet on Saturday afternoon. He faces 4 counts of malicious wounding and 4 counts of using a firearm during a felony. Only one of the victims is a student. The reason I bring this up is because it brought to mind the unfortunate situation we had at Virginia Tech many years ago where they had a shooting there and unfortunately people died. It's back to school for a lot of people, so as people pray for students in their new school year, we should add these folks to the prayer list as well.
Yeah.
First of all, it's just an evil act, obviously, to just shoot innocent, well, to shoot anybody, taking the law in your own hands, but to just randomly try to kill people is obviously evil. And then there just seems to be a lot of crazy in the air. We don't know anything about this particular shooting. I'm sure we'll find out.
Let me ask you this question.
Arrested and
yeah, there were some other shootings too over the weekend. A couple of other places where similar type things took place. You know, you see these stories, but then you go, well, you know, is this some kind of trend, or is this, you know, are we becoming more violent or something like that? But I just know that we also live in a country of 330 million people or something
right.
like that.
That's true.
So these things are going to happen, you know, sadly and tragically. Yeah. These things are going to happen. But immediately the left-wing people in this country immediately blame guns.
Right.
They're going to say gun violence. They never have an answer outside of taking up guns.
Right.
You know, confiscating guns, which is against the Second Amendment. That's what they're going to say. But they blame guns instead of holding the people who use the guns to shoot people accountable. That isn't their. They wouldn't necessarily say, no, don't hold them accountable, but they defer immediately to, they'll say gun violence if you listen to them. Many of them, I'm talking about the left-wingers, and as if there's not a person behind the gun
right.
that gets it out of the drawer or whatever and goes and uses it.
And then a lot of times these guns are used illegally, and I'm not just talking about trying to take a life. They are guns that don't belong to the person, they're stolen, or they're taken from a family member who doesn't know it, and it becomes a convoluted argument because the response from Second Amendment people is millions of people in our country use guns legally
every day
to protect themselves every day, and it's not the fault of the gun. It is the responsibility for these actions falls squarely on the people who misuse the guns. And if you take all of those guns away, you're depriving law-abiding citizens of a way to defend themselves.
Why do you think the left-wing people do that? Why don't they immediately say gun violence instead of?
I personally think that too much of our political discussion is a zero-sum game. We've used that term a number of times, which means you cannot admit any of the truth of your opponent's views, because to admit that that person is right, and I'm talking about both sides, if that person is right about anything, you lose the whole argument. I think I personally don't have a problem with people, you know, maybe having some lessons on proper use of weapons. I don't mind the fact that you have to, you know, I'm probably opening a can of worms here. That there is you have to, when you try to buy a gun, there's a federal database to make sure that terrorists or criminals aren't trying to purchase a gun from Walmart or whoever's got it. So I just think that, you know, the other side wants to win this argument, and they can't admit that millions of people use guns legally because it destroys their argument.
Also, isn't killing people with a gun already illegal?
It is. Well,
So the person
under certain circumstances.
Yeah.
It's not illegal.
But I mean, I'm quite frankly a little amused. Amused is probably not the right word when I see signs like gun-free zone.
Right.
A building. I'm going like, you really think a sign is going to stop a criminal? Mm-hmm. Oh, I came to start shooting people, but look, It's illegal.
It's illegal.
It's illegal. There's a sign here saying I can't bring the gun in the mall. I guess I'll have to walk away.
The only people who will follow the sign are law-abiding citizens.
Right, which puts them at a disadvantage,
Absolutely.
Right? Anyway, again, I've never. I do understand, but I don't. It's illogical. The blame the gun. Blame the gun for the act of violence. I've never understood that quite. And as I've mentioned before, the left-wingers apply that unless it involves a police officer.
Yeah.
If it's a police officer using a gun, they don't say stop gun violence.
Right.
They say stop the individual from using a gun.
Yeah, because he's a racist.
Right. So
typically.
The logic flips.
Right.
There. So, all right, you're listening to Today's Issues on American Family Radio. Thanks for listening. Tim, Ed, and Chris. Chris, next story.
The 60-day ceasefire with Iran is set to expire today, and some in the Iranian regime are ramping up their violent rhetoric.
We've had a ceasefire?
On paper. On paper.
Okay.
That I can say.
It's 60 days, and it's about to run out.
Yeah, it's about to run out.
Okay.
In today's update on this ongoing conflict, Iran's army's chief has announced a bounty on U.S. soldiers. And I've got some audio here from a guy named Will Tebow. He's an Army veteran and director of the American Military Project. He told Fox that you don't put a bounty on American soldiers if you want peace, like we're being told Iran wants. Clip 4.
One thing that is, I think, very different even from 30 days ago is Iran is starting to feel a lot of economic pressure that is resulting from President Trump's, I think, wise decision to blockade access to Iranian ports for traffic that navigates through the Strait of Hormuz. In many ways, I see this rhetoric, this announcement of a bounty, as an increasing act of desperation. I think there is a sign and some reason to believe that Iran knows it can't go on like this forever. And, that should, I think, provide a path out of this war.
The bounty is $30,000, although it could be more depending on who might be killed.
Well, I describe this war as being like Groundhog Day, the movie Groundhog Day, just kind of goes on and on and on. Somebody else had a better metaphor this morning in our story meeting. I forget what it was. That I'm just getting older. I can't remember.
It's been an hour and a half ago.
Yes. Thank you.
I'll let you know when I call you tonight to coordinate.
Yes. Okay. Listen, the Trump administration is dealing with a regime that is run by violent religious fanatics, and they are not going to ever want to make a deal. They don't want peace. And this is proof, as this gentleman was saying. They don't want peace. They believe in bloodshed. They believe in a religious and zealously hold to it, a religious view that demands before God that America and Israel perish. And that's what they live, eat, and breathe. So you either have to kill those people, forcibly remove them in some other way, or they're going to continue doing this. Mm-hmm. And I think the Trump administration and the Israeli government thought that regime could be overthrown when we started this war, but Iran has proved more resilient, and that regime doesn't look like it's going anywhere.
Yeah.
And I think that's the reality of the situation.
I think even if the administration is successful in getting positive regime change and they have free and fair elections, you're still going to have rogue actors in various parts of the world, not just in the U.S., but maybe in Western Europe, big cities there, where some Iranian person who was devoted to the current regime, engages in terrorism. I think we'll probably face that for years.
But we already have been.
I mean,
Islamic terrorism against the U.S.? How long do you want to go back?
Yeah, it goes into the 90s. Or the USS Cole.
Well, how about the Iranians taking our hostages?
That's true, 1979.
Yeah, and it even preceded that. But Pan Am.
Yeah.
Pan Am
well,
103.
remember the Israeli at the Olympics?
Yeah.
The Israeli athletes taken hostage. That was in the 70s.
Yeah, it's been going on a long time. It's been going on a long time. But this story that the Islamic Revolutionary, what do you call themselves?
The Islamic Revolutionary Guard.
They publicly issued a announcement of a bounty on American soldiers, right?
Yes. The headline is $30,000, but Stripes.com, which is a military publication, says it's actually up to 60, depending on who might be killed.
Hey, I like you said, Ed, this war has become like Groundhog Day. I mean, it's every day, it's like rinse and repeat. It seems like. But so where do we go? Do you think anything will happen in the next? We've got a blockade underway. That blockade's been going on a few months now, right?
I'm not even sure the blockade is still operational. Well, I think we just have assets in the region that are attacking when a target pops up.
But we've stopped attacking Iran with missiles and bombs
By and
for
large,
the most part.
Yes. Now,
does that mean we've run out of targets, you think, or run out of weaponry?
No, I don't think we've run out of weaponry yet. I think we just have run out of military targets. And unless we want to start bombing civilian infrastructure, like bridges or desalination plants, then we wait for someone within the country of Iran to launch a missile, and we can locate them and we hit it.
Okay, so we've stopped. By the way, I agree with that. If that's the reason President Trump has stopped, I know people listening may say, well, war is, you got to be all in to win. I understand that, but if Trump started bombing water plants and electrical grid, and first of all, the time it would take to rebuild those things would be enormous. And you've got summertime in Iran. It's hot, like here. And you would have a humanitarian crisis for millions of people that would get worldwide attention. It would be a complete, total condemnation from everybody around the world for if President Trump did something like that. So I know some people may disagree with me, but I don't. I think that's the consequences of putting all these millions of people. These are people who are, yes, they're held hostage. Basically, they're hostages of the Iranian regime. So it's a hard call on how far you go with punishing Iran while not trying to make the millions of people who are basically in bondage to the Iranian Revolutionary Guard, suffer.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. And by the way, the blockade is ongoing despite the fact that we had the ceasefire.
Yes.
So
Trump did say that over the weekend as well.
Yeah.
But do you think that's sort of the dilemma? President Trump may not say that out loud, although there isn't much he doesn't say out loud. But maybe that seems to me to be where we are. We're out of military targets. Now, you can respond if drones are sent from here or missiles launched from there. You can spot it and go in and try to do something. But other than that, it seems to be because remember we did that 10-day bombing mission that was relentless night after night, and it seemed like we've run out of places to bomb, short of what you're talking about.
Unless you're targeting individuals, political leaders or people you think are leading the IRGC, and but I just eventually we will run out of missiles. And if your goal is to overthrow the regime, I don't think that's going to happen. I think Iran realizes that. I think everybody else realizes that. Iran is getting supplied, from what I've read, by China, probably Russia as well. So I don't think the IRGC is going anywhere, and we're going to have to, in a sense, make peace with the idea that we're not going to get everything we hope to accomplish, and at some point we got to leave.
Yeah. All right, we'll be back momentarily after this timeout with more of today's issues on the American Family Radio Network. Tim, Ed, and Chris.
Hello, I'm Ed Vitagliano. Did you know that this show is listener supported? Without people like you, this show would not exist. That's why we need you. A generous monthly gift of any amount will help sustain American Family Radio, specifically this show, as we reach thousands of people each week with biblical truth. Please consider becoming a monthly financial partner today by visiting afr.net/give. That's afr.net/give.
It's my turn.
Here is your host for My Turn, Don Wildmon.
Years ago, I wrote an article to my mother. She was still alive then. I'd like to share it with you. It's simply called Thanks, Mama. Thanks, Mama. That's about the best way I know to say it. For all the things you gave me and did for me in my formative years. I'm a grown man now, and I can look back at my life at home with more objectivity than when I was growing up. Thanks, Mama, for taking me to church. I can remember when we lived quite a long way from church, but come Sunday, we went. I can remember that my clothes weren't quite as fine as the other kids' clothes, but that didn't stop me from learning about the love of God. And there was that stage I went through when I rebelled against attending church. I remember the day I went to Sunday school and then skipped the worship service. I remember getting home and the lecture you gave me. I went the next time. I may not have wanted to, but I did. And I'm richer because of it, because you cared enough to discipline me. Thanks also for standing beside me during trying times. I recall the time in high school when the principal and I had a misunderstanding. I thought I was doing what was right and was standing on a principle. And you stood beside me. If there was ever a doubt in your mind as to whether or not I was doing what was right, it never showed. I believed you believed in me, and I desperately needed, that belief at that time. Thanks, too, Mama, for working so that I could have an education. I still remember that night I came home from my first few days in college and said I was quitting. You talked me into finishing that semester and several more. And during those days, little did I realize the sacrifice you were making. I look back now and realize that we were poor folks, and it took all the money you and Daddy could make to give us children a chance at an education. It never entered into my mind at that time that we weren't as well off as other people. I guess I just took it for granted that we were. I knew you hardly ever bought a new dress or went to the hairdresser, but at that point in time, I didn't know women were supposed to do things like that. Thanks also, Mama, for instilling high morals in me. I recall the day I caught my shirt in the screen door and let out a little, what many would consider today, insignificant four-letter word. I was really shocked to see you standing there. And the silent disappointment that was on your face spoke more than harsh words of condemnation could have ever said. Looking back now, I can see that we didn't have much of the world's goods. We weren't accepted by many folks because we were kind of poor. But I learned what honesty was and fairness and love. And I want you to know that I wouldn't trade what you gave me for all the riches of those folks who thought we weren't good enough to associate with them. I guess we may be good enough now, but if we are, it's because our love reaches just a little farther than theirs. In closing, let me add there are many things I could say thanks for, but allow me to sum them all up by simply saying thanks for your love. It was that made you the type mother you are. Thanks, Mama.
This has been My Turn with Don Wildmon, a production of the American Family Association.
In the movies, here's how the good guys get their information.
Alert! Alert! Legislation is coming that can drastically alter the course of our families' lives. You must act quickly and call upon all your abilities to stop the onslaught and save life as we know it.
Okay, that's not exactly how it works at the AFA Action offices. It would be nice if it did. There's a lot of work and research that goes on behind the scenes at AFA Action, encompassing the Center for Government Renewal, the Center for Judicial Renewal, and iVoter Guide. The moral and political landscape is constantly changing, and it can happen almost in the blink of an eye. The enemy is crafty. He tries to slip things through quickly and quietly, hoping nobody notices. But AFA Action does. Your support keeps us defending and promoting biblical and family values and giving you the in-depth information you'll need when you step into the voting booth. Visit afaaction.net today and find out more. afaaction.net.
The Lord will keep you from all harm. He will watch over your life. The Lord will watch over your coming and going, both now and forevermore. Psalm 121, 7-8.
This is Today's Issues. Email your comments to comments@afr.net. Past broadcasts of Today's Issues are available for listening and viewing in the archive at afr.net. Now, back to more of Today's Issues.
Hey, welcome back, everybody, to Today's Issues on the American Family Radio Network. Tim, Ed, and Chris. Hey, we have a good news story, don't we?
Finally.
Don't we, Chris? It doesn't involve the war or shootings or anything like that.
Or the economy or anything like that.
No, what does it involve, Chris?
I'm so honored to be able to talk about this.
You're
because
honored?
It's not doom and gloom. So the Cardinals, the St. Louis Cardinals baseball team, they've got a rookie named Joshua Baez, who in his Major League debut hit not one, not two, but 3 home runs in his Major League debut.
In his first 3 at-bats?
Yes.
It's never been done.
Never been done.
Tim,
Probably won't be done again.
Tim, you said this morning, even though Chris is trying to take credit for it, you said this morning that it'll probably never be done again.
It won't be.
Yeah.
I'll see myself out again.
No.
You keep coming back in.
Okay. So what we're talking, I hope people maybe who are non-baseball fans fully appreciate this.
Yeah.
This fella, he's 23 years old.
Young kid.
He grew up his first few years like in the Dominican, and then they moved to the Boston area. His family, he had to learn English.
Yeah.
He had to learn English while in school. Said he was using like Google Translate or something like that. I was reading this story. Anyway, 23 years old, and he wasn't a really high draft pick. So here he is. He gets called up from Memphis, which is the AAA affiliate of the St. Louis Cardinals. He gets called up to the big leagues. And I think they're in Chicago playing the Cubs, right?
Yes.
At Wrigley Field.
Which only makes this that much more of a story. Epic rivals, the Cubs and the Cardinals are.
Right. And think about this for a minute. How long has Major League Baseball been going on? 100 and something years?
Since the 1800s.
Yeah, 1800, late 1800s.
I've got some cards from that era.
Well, then
I think I've got some guy's 1899 card at home.
If it's in mint condition.
Honus somebody.
Yeah. Wilbur.
Honus Wagner.
Hey, you think I should try to sell this thing? Yeah, you sell it and buy yourself an island.
Anyway, so Major League Baseball has been going on, let's say 100 plus years, right? With probably 1 million games played. I don't know what the total is. Maybe more than that. I don't know. But I'm just saying, in all that time, what happened with this young man, his name is what?
Joshua Baez.
Has never happened in the history of Major League Baseball. Think about that. Of course, you can only have one opportunity for that to happen.
Right.
Because we're talking, this is his first game, his debut, as you said, in the major leagues, and his first pitch, he hits over the center field wall, He comes up again, and he hits another home run, and then another home run. So back-to-back-to-back home runs in his first 3 at-bats as a Major League Baseball player. And now the expectation for him is going to doom him.
Yes, it will follow him for the rest of his career.
Right,
yes.
right. So now everybody's going to be going, well, hey, you didn't hit a home run in 2 games. What's wrong?
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, congratulations to him. I saw the smile on his face. Do you see
Well,
that
we have audio for
audio.
this, right?
We have audio?
I asked
Yes.
our crack AFN news team to get the audio for this.
Let's do it.
It's such a great story. And folks, if you can find it, watch it. I found it easily on YouTube. You just type in Joshua Baez, Baez, his name in, and you see this great big smile on this kid's face.
Right.
Clip 11.
And here comes Baez as a big leaguer for the first time. Swing and a high fly, belted. First pitch in the show. Baez homers. Look at that Cardinal dugout. It is not supposed to be that easy. Swing and a drive down the line. Did he do it again? That ball is gone. He's got 2 homers. Swing, drive, well hit right. Suzuki back. It is gone. It is gone. It is gone. 3 homers for Baez. Major League history at Wrigley Field.
I didn't think about this until just now, but the very excited announcer there is Chip Carey, who is the grandson of Harry Carey, a longtime Cubs broadcaster.
Skip Carey's son?
Yes. Chip, he was the announcer for the Braves for a while, but he's since moved.
This young man, Baez, he not only hit 3 home runs first 3 times at bat, it was 1 to each field.
Yeah.
Like center, left, and right.
The mathematical odds of that that's a lot of math.
The only thing he could do more is call them. Call your shot.
Raise your bat.
Huh? Raise your bat. Yeah, where's this ball going?
Even if you're not a baseball fan, okay, folks, that's a good news story.
I would go ahead and retire. Because then you could retire with like a flawless batting average. You could be talked about
I think he's got a lot of money still to make.
Yeah, 23 years old?
Yeah.
Yeah, if he stays healthy, he's on his way to a nice little income.
He can buy the Dominican Republic.
Yeah, exactly. All right, he plays for the St. Louis Cardinals. I grew up a huge Cardinals fan.
Yeah, you've been a Cardinals fan. You used to go to bed. You told me go to bed listening to your transistor radio.
Yeah.
Listening to Cardinals
Like a lot
games.
of boys in the 70s and 60s. And about 60s
I used to do it with the Red Sox.
Did you? Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yep.
I used to listen to the Cardinals on
warm summer nights.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those were the days.
Yeah.
I lucked into the greatest era of the Braves franchise. Yes.
Is that in the 90s?
They were on the Superstation.
Yes.
WTBS.
Oh, man, that was so great. I wish they would go back to it now. But I was 9 years old when they went from worst to first. And so literally, like
Dale
I was
Murphy?
Just,
was that or that after Dale
Bob
Murphy?
Warner
they had already gotten rid of Dale, which
Okay.
is we don't talk about that.
Right.
But anyway, from 91 on was just epic. I was born into the greatest era.
They had.
Oh, yeah.
That was the greatest pitching staff threesome ever assembled.
Glavine, Schmaltz.
You may find one as good in history of baseball, but not better.
Right.
Tom Glavine, John Smoltz, and
Who's the other
Greg
one?
Maddox.
Who also played for the Cubs.
Forgot Maddox.
Yeah, those 3.
The first game I ever saw was at Wrigley Field. My mom grew up north of Chicago in a town called Zion, Illinois. My aunt.
You left Zion?
Oh, my aunt did.
Your family did? Wow.
But it's if you've hit Kenosha, Wisconsin, you've gone just a bit too far. But anyway, we went to visit relatives up there and saw the Braves and the Cubs in 1998 during the Sosa home run years at Wrigley Field. I sat in the nosebleeds in June and wished I had a jacket.
There's nosebleeds at Wrigley?
Well, it's kind of, sort of. In the left.
The cheap seats.
Yeah, between third and left field. There's some cheap seats.
I do want to go to Wrigley Field sometimes. I've been to Fenway. And Fenway's older than Wrigley. But that Wrigley is the second oldest baseball in Major League in professional baseball. All right, you're listening to today's issues on American Family Radio. Enough of feel-good stories, Chris. We want to go back to the sin of man. Okay? Give us some more sinful man stories.
All right. Well, let's go back and talk about something the Trump administration is having to deal with. While it deals with how to bring about a positive end to the situation in Iran, the president here is really underwater when it comes to his approval rating. As a matter of fact, in this midterm election year, President Trump's not on the ballot, but his agenda and policies are. Most U.S. voters say they are worse off under Trump after the 2024 election here. This is a Financial Times poll, and again, the headline is, most U.S. voters say they are worse off under Trump. This comes at a time in which we're less than 90 days to the midterm election year, and I can't believe I'm even saying this, but about a year from now is when we're going to be talking about people rumored to be running for president. So this is not the headline you want going into a midterm election year in which it looks like the opposing party is going to take one chamber easily.
Listen, like most conservatives, I'm always skeptical of headlines about Republicans, or because of the liberal news media bias.
Right.
Or especially, they want to say, well, Trump is suffering in the polls because of, in this case, the economy. The only reason I give credence to this is it is the Financial Times, and they are a reputable news agency. And it does make sense, quite frankly. We've had, everybody knows that we've had inflation, and we had prices of, cost of living has gone up like exponentially beyond what it maybe normally does, which is like, 3% a year annually? Yeah. Cost of living increases that are normal. And so with the war and with the price of gasoline and all these things, so I do think that a lot of Americans, maybe a majority, if you say, are you better or worse off since President Trump took over in terms of your economic situation, they're probably going to say worse. Now, do I think all the blame belongs to President Trump? No. But I'm telling the psychology of the American people, they don't care whether you're a Democrat or a Republican. If the economy, if at home is not going well, they're going to blame, I put that in quotations, whoever's in the White House.
Right.
That's just the way things are, and always have been.
And that person's party.
Yeah, and yes, and it's not fair necessarily, but that's just the way it is.
It's also probably not accurate to give credit to a person, whoever's in the White House, right, when the economy's doing well.
Right.
I don't know what the percentage of impact. Policies do matter. Pouring lots of money like Joe Biden did into the economy, that does ramp up inflation. The war in Iran certainly has impact, right, but it's not fair, and it's probably not accurate to always blame or praise the person in the White House.
And so it's going to be, as they say, interesting to watch what happens on Election Day. Do the Republicans lose the House of Representatives because they only have like
it's a very slim.
Like, what is it, 3 or 4 vote margin?
It is, and I think somebody's retired. It may be even smaller.
Okay. And so in the United States Senate, the Republicans have a bigger margin. They have 53 Republicans and 47 Democrats. Or Democrat. I think Bernie Sanders is an independent who caucuses with the Democrats.
Right.
But in all practical purposes, it's 53-47. So I genuinely hope that the Republicans can hold on to the Senate. I've sort of resigned myself to the fact they're going to lose the House. That's just my opinion. That may not happen.
I think they will.
But if you can hold on to the Senate, then you can get federal judges passed, because the president appoints federal judges, including Supreme Court justices, and the Senate confirms them or denies them. So they do. So you have to go through the Senate to get federal judge nominees passed. And to me, as I've said many times before, I rank appointing federal judges, including Supreme Court justices. There's hardly anything I can think of, maybe them being commander-in-chief, that is more important than that.
Right.
Because these federal judges, as I've said before too, if you look at the universe, and I'm talking about the universe out there, the galaxies, and is the universe, galaxies fall under universe?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So the universe is everything, right?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Who controls the universe? God Almighty, right?
Right.
Okay, then you come down to planet Earth, right? Underneath God are federal judges, right?
Right.
Okay, now they're not sovereign except for their own jurisdiction. They are. So the importance of appointing federal judges whose legacy, I don't know if that's the right word, whose decisions affect all of the country, and they're going to be there long after whoever the president that appointed them is. So I'm just saying, if you want to say what to pray about, I'm saying pray that we're able to see constitutional judges appointed for the next 2 years and not rejected because we have a liberal Senate. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Is that okay to pray for that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
We need to pray for our leaders.
Okay,
and,
yeah.
And that means not just people who are in office.
Right.
I think not only pray for the ones who could be in office, but folks, go vote. I'm looking at an article on AFN that says Ohio's GOP candidates warned of turnout problem in November. Mm-hmm. So, folks, you got to get out there and vote.
And get your friends and family and church members.
Get registered.
Yeah, because usually in an off year, that is not a presidential year, there is a drop in voting numbers. So a lot of whoever wins, especially in close races, just depends on turnout.
Right.
Right.
This is how, by the way, and this was actually a genius move, but it's sinister as well. All right. This is the way that a lot of these liberal, America-hating, God-hating district attorneys got into office in big cities, in cities across the country. They got in because turnout for local elections is so small that leftist money poured into these races, and these leftist individuals took positions of power. We're talking about they won't charge criminals.
They're George
Soros money poured into these races because turnout's so low. You don't have to have much money to get elected to those positions. You can, if you don't participate in the republic, you can lose it.
Yeah,
you can lose the republic.
Our iVoter Guide. A few years ago, Debbie Wethnow at iVoter Guide wrote a piece called "A Vote That Really Matters," and she talked about the importance of down ballot voting. And she pointed out that, look, I know there are local elections that might not make headlines, but you need to vote for everything because today's school board members might be tomorrow's state representative or state senator, and then they run for the Congress and they run for the Senate. That's how most people move up the ranks. So you do need to vote for down ballot races. And to go back to the Ohio story, there are polls out that show Vivek Ramaswamy losing this governor's race. And that's big because no Republican ever gets elected to the White House without winning Ohio. So you're looking at the potential of Ohio going from red to blue.
Is he running for
again.
president or something?
No, for governor.
Yeah. I'm just saying they could change the political landscape ahead of the 2028 election in this midterm.
Yeah, Republicans have to win Ohio or they can't win. A presidential election, a national election.
And by the way, we don't probably mention this enough on this show. AFA has a division named iVoter Guide. You probably have heard some spots on the air for it, but if you go to iVoterGuide.com, all lowercase, iVoterGuide, that's the letter I, iVoterGuide.com, you can find your state, you can find your voter guide, you can find out about big state elections, and the candidates are covered in terms of their voting record, the amount, who gives them money, whether they're conservative, all the way to very conservative, very liberal. All that information is available. You can find out when your elections are, how to get registered. All that information is provided for you, folks. I mean, we've made it easy. iVoterGuide.com, iVoterGuide.com.
All right, you're listening to today's issues on American Family American Family Radio Network. Thanks for joining us, and we've got a few minutes left on the show. What's next, Chris?
Ohio is not the only state we should watch. There's a Florida primary tomorrow for all kinds of seats. The Republican primary is one that a lot of people are watching because they're going to find out who voters want to be on the ticket this November to try to replace Governor DeSantis, who is term limited. Florida is a big state to watch because in recent years it's kind of adopted the motto of the free state of Florida, and unfortunately there are Democratic socialists running for various offices, including congressional seats there. And here is a guy named Oliver Larkin who wants to put even more free stuff in the free state.
Oliver Larkin?
Yes.
That's his name?
Yes.
I'm writing this down.
Clip 5.
Why are you out here advocating for socialism in a state where capitalism does work well when it seems like you hadn't really tried it yourself?
Well, we have a higher cost of living in the Miami metropolitan area now than New York City, and we've had 30 years of Republican rule in Tallahassee. So this stark income and wealth inequality where we see my district, the 25th Congressional District, having the highest concentration of billionaires in the country. At the same time, we see the poverty rate going up.
He's out there pushing things like universal health care and quote-unquote free college. So he's wanting to have even more free stuff in the free state of Florida.
Yeah.
Well, listen, New York City is already getting a rude awakening. Other cities around the country are getting rude awakenings in terms of these kinds of political leaders. It can get worse. It can get
worse. Let me tell you something. Those kinds of things he just mentioned right there. Now, as part of these Democrat socialists, you may say, well, what is their appeal? Are they for communism? Are they? When what is communism? And they have wackadoodle ideas on a lot of things, like crime, like not punishing crime. No borders, basically. No ICE to enforce immigration law. I mean, they wouldn't have any military if they had their way.
They want to defund the Pentagon.
Defund the police. That's part of their. But you have to ask yourself, why are they gaining traction? So I think to ignore the reasons why they are gaining traction in some states, look at Michigan.
Yeah.
Look at Michigan. Michigan's, Midwestern state. Now, I know it's been blue, but not deep blue. But I'm saying that's the gentleman who's the
Senate candidate.
He's a Democrat socialist,
right?
Said.
Yeah. Now, he says that he's not a Democratic socialist, but he is.
Okay. Well, anyway, they're gaining traction. They're not taking over America, okay? But you have to say their appeal, which is the Bernie Sanders message for the last 173 years that he's been alive.
Oligarchy.
Huh?
That's pretty good.
One day he'll use a comb. I don't know when. Huh? But
I think he's forgotten his comb in one of his 4 houses.
Yes.
I would go either comb your hair or do like me, just shave it off. I didn't have to shave mine off. Mine came off by itself.
I'm getting there.
It came off by itself. I'm just saying that the ideas being expressed by these Democrat socialists, the economic ideas, are the same message that Bernie Sanders has been using for the last 30 years.
Yes.
Okay, and maybe even further to the left than Bernie Sanders on some issues.
I think he is.
So I say that to say this. You say, well, who could vote for a person like that or with these kind of ideas? Their appeal is to average people on economics, okay? The average person out there is not going to go, sign me up for no cops.
Right.
But if you say universal health care, you're going to get the attention of a lot of people who can't afford health care.
Right. And they say that every time they're asked about it.
And the appeal is, well, have the government pay for your health care. Why? Because we got all these billionaires over here, and they're not paying their fair share. So it appeals to a sense of, stick it to the rich guy, sort of what. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
that human jealousy instinct. They appeal to that, and so
and fear. People are afraid.
So, if you want to know, and then they offer free college for everybody. Well, who doesn't want to hear that? Sign me up for that. I got 3 kids about to go to college. Sign me up for free college for everybody. This is the appeal that they're making, which is gaining some traction. We'll be back momentarily.
The views and opinions expressed in this broadcast may not necessarily reflect those of the American Family Association or American Family Radio.
Faith, family, freedom. American Family Radio.
God's given us 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason, so I think we may need to concentrate on listening twice as much as we do our speaking. In other words, our total being, so that we can not necessarily answer, but so we can be there.
Do you listen as much as you speak? Tune in to By Design with Bert Harper to hear more about healthy communication at afr.net/podcasts.
This is American Family Radio, a listener-supported ministry of the American Family Association.
American Family News, I'm Rusty Pugh. A bipartisan group of lawmakers is taking steps to try and provide student loan relief. Bill Malusian reports.
Even though Congress is on recess right now, there is a bipartisan effort to say, let's forget forgiving all student loans. How about we cap federal student loan interest rates instead? Republican Florida Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna, New York Republican Congressman Mike Lawler, and Democratic Florida Congressman Jared Moskowitz have all signed on to a discharge petition. That's a way to go around House leadership and try and force a vote on the House floor. And this bill would cap federal student loan interest rates at 2%. Now, the idea behind that being, instead of having taxpayers pay to forgive all of that student debt, let's give those borrowers a chance to actually pay their loans off without their original balances exploding because of interest rates stacking up over the years.
President Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, met with both Hamas leaders and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, with Hamas leaders reportedly telling Kushner they're committed to demilitarizing Gaza. Florida Republican Representative Brian Mast says he believes that's a good sign.
The fact that they are out there making that as a statement, that is an important step. And so I think it comes down to a chicken or the egg question for the United States, for the Board of Peace, for Israel. What has to take place first in order for somebody to actually make a move forward?
The flood threat returns to millions of people across the Ohio Valley.
West Virginia, Kentucky, Tennessee, and Ohio all under level 2 out of 4 flood risks from lingering rains, dropping several inches across the region and could produce severe thunderstorms with dangerous winds amid a state of emergency in Indiana, where first responders say barriers are up on roadways for a reason.
Somebody drove around the barricades and drove into the water and was able to get out of the vehicle and on top of their car, and we were able to put boats in the water to get the person out.
Brandon Perry with Madison Township Fire, the widespread historic flooding in Indiana, claiming at least 7 lives in addition to widespread destruction, with more rain in the forecast there in the coming days. Jeff Manasso, Fox News.
Former Southern Poverty Law Center Chief Financial Officer Heidi Bayrick was arrested last week on fraud charges. The Department of Justice says she oversaw payments to informants inside hate groups like the KKK, one of which she had a romantic relationship with. Florida Congressman and gubernatorial candidate Byron Donalds says obeying President Trump's order to kill the filibuster can put the operation to an end.
Moving to a talking filibuster like Mike Lee wants to do, it's not just to pass the Save America Act, it's also that through the budget process in D.C., you can stop funding these organizations with federal tax dollars.
As Democrat and Democrat Socialist candidates push the party further and further to the left, the mainstream media seems to think it's racist to notice.
The Associated Press says anti-Muslim vitriol is surging, and one of the pieces of evidence they cite is that Republicans are calling the Michigan Senate candidate by his full name, Abdul Rahman Mohammed El Sayed. Meanwhile, El Sayed himself says it's wrong and racist to notice he's okay with Sharia law in the U.S.
You can't understand a Sharia ban without understanding the Trail of Tears. You cannot understand the challenges we face today without understanding white supremacy.
Over on MS Now, Meet the Press host Kristen Welker is playing the without evidence card.
Senator Ted Cruz said El Sayed wants, quote, Sharia law. To be fair, there's no evidence to support those claims.
Justine Brooke Murray of Media Research Center says the mainstream media is trying to get the racist charge to stick.
It'll
call you an Islamophobe, which, by the way, I don't think that's a real word, and they'll call you a racist to stop you from calling out when these candidates support a terrorist regime.
She points out the voters El Sayed is trying to win over poll supporting Islamic terrorist groups like Hamas and Hezbollah.
He's supposed to represent Americans. He's representing those who want America just wiped off the face of the earth.
Brooke Murray says the media is lying to you.
I would say it's the product of the media waging one of the most sinister gaslighting campaigns in American history.
I'm Steve Jordahl.
U.S. stocks are drifting near their record heights today, ahead of a week where profit reports from the nation's biggest retailers could give a hint about how shoppers are dealing with high inflation and a slowing job market. For American Family News, I'm Rusty Pugh.
I'm Dr. Ray Rooney. The mission of American Family Association is to inform, equip, and activate individuals and families to strengthen the moral foundations of American culture and give aid to the church, here and abroad, in its task of fulfilling the Great Commission. AFA aims to evangelize the lost and disciple the believer.
Thank you for standing with the American Family Association as we seek to stop the erosion of godly values.
Today's Issues continues on AFR with your host, Tim Wildmon, president of the American Family Association.
Hey, welcome back, everybody, to today's Issues on the American Family Radio Network on this Monday, August the 17th. Joining us in studio now, by us, I mean Ed and yours truly, but joining us now is Steve Paisley Jordahl. Good morning, Steve.
Good morning, everybody.
Good weekend for you there?
It was a good weekend, yeah.
What stands out about your weekend, Steve? what was the highlight?
Our pastor is going through, and I want to make sure I get this right, the book.
The Bible?
Yeah, the Bible.
Oh, that's awesome. I love when pastors do that.
Don't you?
They preach out of that Bible.
That there?
Yeah, he's
their Bible.
He's going through the book of 1 Timothy, I believe. And
you don't know. It was just yesterday.
Is he using?
That was just yesterday.
I wrote a commentary.
It was a good message. But I also got I have the privilege of teaching a Sunday school class. And so I had.
What did you use? What Bible verse did you use for your lesson?
We were going. This is like if you asked me what I wrote on the other day, and why did I bring it up if I'm not going to have it at the tip of my fingertips?
That's what I.
This is. We talked about the story of when
Jesus.
Yes.
I'm trying to help you. I don't like to.
Hold on.
No, you're not.
No, I don't like to see you struggle.
You're trying to.
Huh? I'm trying to help him.
It's like when my dad would say, "Hurry up, hurry up," and I'm nervous.
Right.
Yeah. So there's a. Oh, I'm gonna come back to this because it was a good lesson, and I don't know why I brought it up.
Steve, just
I
say
enjoyed teaching it.
I'm old and I can't remember.
I am old and I can't remember things anymore.
All right. Well, I didn't think that was.
Would the preacher preach on
it? That was a great mental challenge.
Well, you always ask me. You always ask me what did the preacher preach on.
No, here he is coming for me.
What did the preacher preach on at
I didn't make it yesterday, so I don't even know. Huh?
Well,
so you got me.
That's one way to answer.
Huh? How would I know?
Well, it's online.
Yeah,
you can always watch it later when you get home.
I know.
All right, I remember.
I just stepped right into that one, didn't I? All right. So anyway, Steve, no judgment.
No, that's okay. I remember.
Okay.
It was the
Go
story of when Jesus went to dinner with the Pharisee, and there was a woman of ill repute who followed him into the house and washed his feet with her hair in tears. And the Pharisee was looking at him like a prophet and wondering why he was allowing this woman of ill repute to touch him. It was a very inappropriate and too intimate for the time, and probably would be too intimate for this time. And I was uncomfortable with the passage until I remembered and I figured out that what the woman was doing was worship. It wasn't any interaction between a woman and a man. It was between a woman and God.
Well, and the Pharisees were upset because they thought Jesus should have kicked her to the curb.
Right.
Because she was, you call it a woman of ill repute. I just say one of them, they're harlot women. Just lay it right out there.
Harlot?
One of them, they're harlot women. No, I understand what you're trying to do.
But yeah,
they
so
think God doesn't want sinners, and He wants to save
well,
them.
the question that I had to ask myself, when I approach God, when I'm praying, am I approaching Him as a man to another person? Because we anthropomorphize God all the time. I'm asking Him to do.
Well, speak for yourself.
Well, we ask God to intervene in our lives, and but am I looking at Him like another conversation I'm having with you as just God, or
we bring Him down to our level,
right? Or am I addressing the author of the universe, the creator of the whole universe, and am I humble, and am I putting myself out there in a emotionally compromising position because God wants me to be vulnerable and open and honest with myself when I come to Him?
Yeah, and do we think God's going to kick us to the curb because we're sinners? And this is a perfect, your reference here is a perfect example of how God feels about sinners who come to Him in humility and faith.
Right.
And Jesus shows the Father by loving this woman, forgiving her.
It was a powerful, and I'm glad I remembered it. It was right on the tip of my tongue.
There.
But I had a real good time, if you can call it a good time. It was a very good time researching, looking into that passage, and then presenting it to the Sunday
So this
school
is
class.
what you were teaching your
I
Sunday
was
school.
teaching,
Yep.
yes. Yeah.
That's
what I was teaching.
Well done.
All right, good for you. Next story.
All right, I want to talk about a new government report that came out from the Health and Human Services Department.
Can't wait.
It's called Wolves in White Coats. And it is a report from HHS that found that more than 225 hospitals and health systems in the U.S. preyed, P-R-E-Y-E-D, on vulnerable children and told families that their kids needed life-altering medical treatment for misdiagnosed gender disorders. These are the transing the kids, and this report found hundreds of hospitals and medical clinics that preyed on these kids, and they are going to be holding these people accountable. I want you to hear from. We're going to hear from Robert F. Kennedy and Brian Christine. Brian Christine is an HHS Assistant Secretary, and they're going to talk about this report. Cut 15.
These are sex-rejecting, mutilating, transgender procedures promoted by the Biden administration, and thanks to President Trump's leadership, we're changing course. Subjected children to profound interventions while serious questions remained about evidence, about informed consent, and about financial incentives. The report found more than 225 hospitals and health systems established pediatric gender programs nationwide where they preyed on vulnerable children and told families that their kids needed life-altering medical treatments when what they really needed was compassion and counseling.
When children may have been harmed and families misled, it's on those of us in power to find the truth and to seek justice for kids who were harmed by these doctors. So many of these people got rich, not by doing what was good for the patient, but by actually mutilating these kids. It was disgraceful. And if someone broke the law, we are going to hold them accountable.
That was J.D. Vance, not RFK Jr.
Look, first of all, a shout out to the Trump administration. President Trump and his entire administration, they have been warriors on this issue. They have done so much good to stem the tide of this transgender insanity, which was unleashed by the Biden administration. It had started before that, but the Biden administration just put it on steroids with official policies. The Trump administration has put a stop to it. And the fact that they are going, if the cases lead to it, are going to go after those who got themselves rich doing this. Second of all, I would say this is the kind of horrifying story that should not be politicized. I don't know why Democrats first of all, why the Biden administration unleashed this devastation on our young people, but why Democrats and Republicans can't find the common ground to say this is unacceptable no matter who's in office. And listen, I'm not sure the third thing I'll say about this, because I think this is wonderful what the Trump administration has done on this. I'm going to say I'm not sure how many of these medical people can be charged, because they were basically given the green light by the Biden administration. They're probably just going to say, hey, we were doing what we were told to do and encouraged to do by the president and his administration under Joe Biden. But at the very least, these people and these hospitals, these medical facilities should be shamed forever for doing this.
Yeah.
And that's what I preached on today.
Well, we talked last week, I think, about AOC talking when she said a phrase. She said, I don't have it here, but she said woke one was crazy.
Yeah.
Which kind of says there's a woke two coming. And my warning to us is that this craziness that the Biden that the Trump administration is fighting here is just hiding around the corner. They will try to bring it back. Now, whether they'll be able to get out from under the lawsuits, I don't know if the Justice Department will, if it's under a Democrat leadership, will dismiss these cases or whatever, but I hope they are able to follow through with them. But it's on its way.
Well, what AOC said about woke one, I was about to say it's disingenuous, but that's too kind a way of putting it. This is lies and deception. They're not backing off of what they call woke one. They just realize it's politically damaging. And so they are going to repackage their ideology into something a little bit more palatable, but they are going to try to accomplish the same things. So I don't believe AOC or any of these far leftists as far as you can throw them. Right. The parents and voters need to be paying attention and acting accordingly. Protect your kids and your grandkids and protect this republic.
Yep.
I'm getting wound up now.
Up with you, brother.
The Diet Coke is just now kicking in.
Just now.
Folks, you better buckle your seatbelts. I have 14 minutes left. There's no telling what I'm going to say.
Go, Steve.
All right, you guys were talking last hour about the Democrat Socialist Party and how they get a little crazy at times. I want to introduce you to a state assemblywoman, Emily Gallagher, who is running for her reelected to her New York State Assembly seat from the 50th Assembly District. But she was complaining because CVS and Walgreens have been closing stores in Manhattan and in New York. CVS has closed about 220 stores in 2025, about 900 stores they closed from 2022 to 2024. And they're doing this because they're getting ripped off.
Getting robbed.
They're getting robbed. People going in and shoplifting. Well,
and on the West Coast, they were opening big trash bags and filling it with stuff and walking out.
Right. Well, Emily Gallagher was, she held with a group called Court Watch NYC, which is a liberal group that was looking at some of the court cases coming through the local courts. And she says what they saw was, in fact, you're seeing Fox News. If you look at our TV, you're seeing what we're going to be playing right now. And this is Emily Gallagher saying that shoplifting, they're doing it because, well, it's a biological need. Yeah. Yes, cut 12.
Most of what we saw were crimes of poverty. People who were stealing things like toothpaste. People who were stealing things like, soap. And that means if you're stealing those things, you need them. And we are choosing to protect billion-dollar companies like CVS and Walgreens over the people who are struggling to get by. So I would say that the true crime is that there is such incredible wealth disparity in this city that there are people who can be thrown in jail simply for having a biological need. And so one of the things that I'm fighting for at the state level is to make sure we pass things like treatment, not jail, and that we hold the line on the incredible criminal justice reforms that we have done over the last 10 and 20 years that are constantly being threatened by right-wing media who are looking to fearmonger about people who are actually just in absolute dire straits.
Now, they're in dire straits. She said they need some toothpaste and what else?
Soap.
Deodorant.
Let me write this laundry
Deodorant.
list. So, wait, hold on. I'm writing. I need to go to. If you need to go to the grocery store, I'm writing these things. Soap. What else?
Soap, deodorant. Deodorant.
Oh, for sure in the summer.
Yeah.
Deodorant. Riding on those subways and stuff.
That's all she mentioned.
Okay, so they need
toothpaste.
The thieves need soap,
right,
and deodorant, and we need to get out of their way and let them clean out.
Not
the shelves.
arrest them. And for those who do commit crimes, treatment, not jail. Which, well, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well,
I'm wound up.
I'm with you on that. She says treatment over jail, right, for theft.
That's in theory, that's not a bad idea. And I'm not talking about. I think you should try to rehabilitate criminals, but you got to lock them up.
Okay, why do you need treatment? She's double talking. She says they steal these items because they need it, right?
That's what she says.
Okay. Why do you need treatment for that?
I think first of all, she might not have an answer because I doubt these are just platitudes to her. I think that the argument would probably be that people who commit crimes, and this is the core of her argument, people who commit crimes are just trying to get really deep down inside the things they need. They need to be helped to understand that there may be a better way to do it. But I'm not sure if that answers your question. But that little speech, now it's kind of gone viral.
Excuse me for one thing. What she's expressing there is the mainstream view of the Democrat socialist people on the far left.
Yes.
So that's not out of the mainstream for them. What she described.
Right.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, listen. She's saying there's so much wrong with what she said. She's saying that CVS, Walgreens, these places are closing because right-wing media has fear-mongered this issue, and these people are just trying to get what they need because billionaires, okay, and oligarchs. Okay, so what's going to happen in New York and other big blue cities is that you're going to see more and more privately owned drugstores, pharmacies, grocery stores shutting their doors because of crime. And therefore, you're going to have the socialists saying, see, we've got to provide what the people need. So we're going to create government-owned pharmacies and grocery stores and clothing, whatever, because they are going to drive out the private businesses. And before you know it, the government will own the means of distribution, which is one of the tenets of communism.
What could possibly go wrong?
Well, she's an idiot. Well, let me just put it this way. She may not be an idiot. She probably could beat me on an ACT or SAT. I don't know. I'm saying her ideas are idiocy.
Right.
Okay. That's what I meant to say. So the idea that you should allow people to go into CVS or Walgreens and raid their shelves in the name of their meeting basic needs is just insanity. Well, I'd just say, let's just open up your house, Miss whatever her name is, Emily
Gallagher.
Just open up your house and say, y'all come, take what you need.
Now, I don't have data to back it up, but from the videos that I've seen, they're not stealing deodorant and toothpaste.
No, it doesn't matter. I don't care.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. You can't be stealing from stores.
Right.
And justifying it in any way whatsoever. You steal from stores, you get arrested. And if you don't have that, you don't have civilization. And furthermore, CVS and Walgreens invest a lot of money in their operations and their stores, and people depend on them for employment. And if you start just going in and saying big pharmacy companies can be raided and no consequences, that's when it's just idiot. Everybody knows this is stupid, but she spouts it like it's some kind of reason. But to your
earlier point in the first hour, Tim, I think there are people who are buying the bait and not seeing the hook. The bait is, hey, I need groceries, I need health insurance. And the argument is, well, we're going to eat the rich, we're going to tax the billionaires,
right?
We're going to not put people in jail, and they're not seeing the hook, which is the whole point of baiting a hook,
right?
And what they're going to wind up is a complete loss of freedom, and a country like Venezuela that collapses its economy, and then everybody is the same amount of poor.
Mm-hmm. And what they do too? These far lefties, they double talk a lot, because if she's saying CVS and Walgreens, that's what she cited them in particular.
She did.
She said they need to be open their shelves up for people to come and get what they want without penalty. Isn't that what she's arguing?
Yes.
That's
legalized shoplifting.
Yep. Okay. A store can't stay in business like that. In fact, CVS and Walgreens have shuttered many stores in these inner cities, in big cities in particular, because the shoplifting it's not they're not able to operate any longer,
right.
and make a profit. But what she's saying, okay, so let's just say that what we applied her logic, and then the Walgreens store in her neighborhood says, you know what, we're going to have to close because we can't sustain this shoplifting that goes on and keep our business open. You know what these people would say then? Oh, so you're closing your store in a poor neighborhood?
Yeah, you're racist.
Or in a minority neighborhood, you're racist.
They have said that.
Well, she said that. We are supporting billionaire companies over these poor people who need deodorant.
You know, it's not just that the stores can't survive with a high percentage of shoplifting going on. It's that regular paying customers stop going because of the criminal element that's walking in, and they don't feel safe. And then you add to it the drugged out people using needles, the homeless people outside these stores in big cities. Real customers don't want to go. And so all of that together is causing these companies to shutter these stores in inner cities, and the socialists are going to say, well, then the government's going to have to step in.
Yeah. All right, you're listening to Today's Issues on American Family Radio. The only reason we talk about that is because that is the appeal of this Democrat socialist philosophy, and they represent at least 40%, if not more, of the Democrat Party in the U.S.
And it's probably growing. Yeah. By the way, I do want to clarify the DSA is not an official political party. Okay, this is the Democratic Socialists of America is an organization that is helping to fund candidates running under the Democratic Party label.
Emily Gallagher is the red part of what is being known as the Green-Red coalition. The green part is the Muslim part. And I found this from 1989, and I know this is old, but this is coming around. I've never heard anything put this specifically as good. Listen to cut 16.
American melting pot. We do not want to melt into American society and disappear. We want to go into American society with Islamic ideals and revamp their thinking. We want to revamp them. We want to turn them into Muslim individuals. We shouldn't have feelings of a distaste for them or intolerance because they're potential Muslims. Education is one of the most important areas that Muslims have to address. And while our final objective, is not just to become part of the system that we experience now and that we see, our final objective is to create our own Islamic systems, and not only create Islamic systems for Muslims, but to look at all the other people who are sharing this country with us as potential Muslims. And in that long-range process of making America Muslim, all of America Muslim,
I could play you 10 of those things.
Where did you get that?
That is from a TikTok account called Islam Invasion, @Islam Invasion. And
that was from 1989?
But I could play you.
Oh, all right. So somebody, because there's no TikTok in 1989. Somebody's gone back and
found the video.
Snatched these up.
Yeah.
Wow. I've never heard it expressed that clearly and openly either. Yeah. Folks, that's another reason why we encourage you to listen to this show, listen to other programming on American Family Radio, and go to afn.net, where Steve is one of our all-stars over there. You get this kind of information. It's hard to get it anywhere else, especially from a Christian perspective. AFN.net is the place to go for that.
All right, we're out of time. We thank you for yours. We hope that you have a wonderful rest of your day. Keep listening to American Family Radio, and we'll see you back here tomorrow.
So you're scrolling through your social media newsfeed when you happen to run across a story about a bill that would remove safeguards that protect your kids